Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Frank West. I'm the General Manager for the Americas here at Q-SYS.
And I'm Ray Biba, and I lead our sales team in North America. We're thrilled to be here with you today.
Over the next hour, we want to share something that marks an exciting new chapter for our business and for our partnership with you.
We've been working diligently the past several months to assemble a team that brings you closer to our business, our capabilities, and the people who will be supporting you day in and day out.
It's all about building a tighter, direct relationship, one that's rooted in trust, responsiveness, and shared growth.
And what makes me especially excited is the team itself. These folks have proven that they deliver results creatively, solve problems, and most importantly, always put you, our customers, first.
We're simplifying how we work with you. That means fewer barriers, faster answers, and a stronger focus on understanding what you need and responding with real solutions.
We're just getting started, but the path ahead is one we're genuinely excited about. With this team in place, we're confident in where we're headed and how we'll grow alongside with you.
Thank you for your partnership and the trust that you place in us. We're ready to get to work with you.
So let's dive in. We've got a great team to introduce, and we can't wait to show you what's next.
Absolutely. We'd like to welcome Patrick to talk to us about vision behind our full stack AV platform, as well as some recent product launches. Patrick?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Hopefully, mine is not a new face, but if it is, my name is Patrick Hine. And Don, can you advance that PowerPoint one slide on the PowerPoint, not the board? What we're going to do is go over a little bit of what we introduced at Activate. One of the things that we talked about was the idea of a full stack AV platform. This is effectively the technology ethos for our company. It was an idea that was introduced back at InfoComm at a keynote presentation, but we have been working over the last several months and even before InfoComm to serve out this idea of what we see as the future of our AV industry. One of the things that I do want to share before I dive into this is that this should feel like this shouldn't feel like brand new information. This is if you're familiar with performing and improv, this is a yes and moment for Q-SYS. This is us building on a story that started back when Q-SYS started 16 years ago. And the idea of a full stack platform has always been waiting in the wings, but has not fully been articulated. And this is by design, because for some people, the idea of a full stack AV platform is probably more information than you're ever going to need. But there are those that are looking towards the future, those that want to understand the stack that's driving our technology. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to reset the bar on what is the value of a platform, what is a full stack AV platform, and then allow our sellers and our customers to help understand exactly what is driving our technology. Don, on that laptop, not that, on the laptop, hit the space bar if you would. There you go. Okay, here we go. So let's talk about what a full stack AV platform is, starting with the goal of an AV platform. The goal is to look at what is being unified across the platform, across devices, what is happening at that cloud level, and what is the goal, which is ultimately to drive actions and insights across your system. Now with Q-SYS, that starts with product. That starts with native products that we build here at Q-SYS. So I'm talking about amplifiers, touch screens, cameras, loudspeakers. Basically, all of these devices are built to work together, and there's an inherent value in that, obviously, to the end user, because it means that they're going to work better together, and for the designer and the commissioner, in that they don't have to work as hard to program them and to get them to integrate together. Next is the idea of open. Now, for our native products, we have no illusion to the idea that we make every product, and that's kind of where Q-SYS Open comes into play. These are industry standard protocols that we did not design. We took them off the shelf so that we are able to focus on what makes Q-SYS special. And for, again, the programmer, they're not having to sift through the internet, having to take proprietary classes to learn how to do things like CSS, HTML5, Lua. These are all things that we've taken off the shelf and that are readily available in the world. And then when it comes to areas that is not completely obvious, we foster a community of programmers called Q-SYS communities, where you can go to and look for answers if you need to. And then right there in the middle, between native products and the things that you can program manually, this is where our partners come into play. I'm talking about some of the biggest partners in the world: Microsoft, Zoom, Google, Lenovo. These are people and organizations that we have direct ties with, that we are working together with to build integrations. And speaking of which, beyond those large partners, we have a library of over 100 different technology innovations that you can basically drag and drop into your system and allow for easier integration. So that is essentially what we've been saying since the dawn of Q-SYS. That is what makes up the platform. Those are the pillars. Let's look a little bit at what that stack means for those that are interested in understanding what the future lies for our industry and what is governing our development plans and cycles. Starting with the idea of multimodal I/O. Now, the idea behind multimodal I/O is that you've got all of these devices connected to your system, and these effectively become the eyes and ears of the system. These are where we are collecting the raw data that we're deriving all of those actions and insights from. And then above that is the idea of the cognitive cloud. So this is where we are presenting remote monitoring and management. And so that is table stakes at this point. Most people offer remote monitoring and management. This is how you're monitoring your systems across an enterprise. But our cognitive cloud, our remote monitoring and management system, has been re-architected recently so that it presents a future for things like cognitive services and machine learning. We are ready to present those functions and features when that time comes. Don, one more back on the laptop. My clicker is not working so good. I'm so sorry, folks. No, one more back. There you go. Okay, let's see if this works. This is live, guys. It's okay, no worries. Right there in the center is the Intelligent Platform OS. Now, this is the brains of your system. This is how we're able to scale Q-SYS from the largest theme park all the way down to the smallest cafe or conference room. This is a singular OS that is driving the whole thing. And for the person that is designing this, again, this means that you're able to scale your learning. You're only learning one platform in order to build systems from the smallest to the largest. It also means that this is an integrated solution that is driving integrated engines for audio, video, and control. It means that you're not having to individually program an audio processor to talk to a video processor, to talk to a control processor, because it's already designed to do so. And what that also means, hopefully that's obvious, is that we're taking possible points of failure out of this. Because without that intrinsic integration, it means that somebody is manually connecting those things. And effectively, that is how a lot of other systems are cobbled together, not with Q-SYS. If we talk even further down the line, that integrated platform OS is navigating the bidirectional conversation, not only between the technology stacks, but across those pillars that we talked about. It's always home running all of that information back and forth, which means that you're eliminating subsystems in your system. Again, those possible points of failure begin to go away. We're able to maximize the value of that hardware. And ultimately, we're presenting a solution that is more intrinsically tied together, which is better framed to give you a more holistic user experience. So that's Q-SYS in a nutshell. We're going to be talking about this a lot over the next coming years. And in fact, all of our development cycle is based off of what you've just seen in those technology stacks. And in fact, if you were a part of Activate, you saw that everything that we launched was distinctly tied to one of those technology stacks. So for those that went to Activate, this is going to be a little bit of a quick recap. And for those that didn't, this is brand new. This is new to you. And we're going to start with the Core 24. This is the successor to the Core 110. This is the Core 110, for those that are unaware, is the processor that put Q-SYS on the map for collaboration. This was the perfect marriage between analog support and digital support, and the Core 24 is effectively going to replace the Core 110 and do another yes and moment, because it presents twice as much processing capability, new onboard features, and new I/O capabilities. So let's start with what we know and love about the Core 110 and now the Core 24, which is how it supports the analog world. What's on the back? To define what that 24 means, 24 inputs and outputs, and the F stands for flex. And that breaks down to 8 channels of microphone in, 8 channels of out, and 8 channels that are available for flex. As we proceed from left to right, there's the return of GPIO. Now, for those that have followed our journey along the pandemic, we all know that we had to get rid of or pause on the GPIO just for sourcing purposes. We're happy to announce that GPIO is back on the Core 24. And it is joined by RS-232. So again, lots of opportunities for those legacy devices to be controlled. And it is joined by an updated bridging solution, so USB-C rather than USB-B. And we've added additional network ports, which means that if you are worried about redundancy, you have more options for that. If you'd like to parse out your audio data and your control data, you have opportunity to do that. Lots of different ways that you can parse that information. Now, when we compare what the Core 110 did do to the Core 24 in terms of its processing power, roughly we're looking at 2x the amount of processing power on the Core 24. You'll see that our scale, I'll define our scale a little bit. 2x is in reference to our smallest core, which is the Core Nano. So the 110 was twice as fast as the Core Nano, and the Core 24 is 4 times that, so twice as much as the Core 110. In terms of its network capacity, it's roughly 50% more on the network side, more AEC, more ability to do Dante, roughly 50% greater capacity for peripherals, and greater on the WAN channels as well. And not to be ignored, again, is the idea that the OLED screen that had to go away during the pandemic, it's back as well. Again, it's the little things that we missed so much when it went away. And if you follow Reddit the way that I unfortunately follow Reddit, this was almost the most excited that people were. Well, that the fact that we're able to see from a glance what that core is doing, and if it's online, it's the little things, right? Okay, that's Core 24. We also introduced 2 other cores and a whole other class of cores, which is we're calling it the X class. This is an effort to fill out our portfolio in terms of processing, so that as you traverse from our smallest core to the largest core, there's a nice gradual gradation. And the X class is filling in a few of those holes that we had in our portfolio. The other thing that should be noted, the difference between the Core 24 and some of our other smaller cores is that the X class is entirely a network-based processor. So there's no onboard I/O. You're mainly putting this class of core in an AV closet or an IT rack, and you're using remote I/O devices that are closer to the sources as a means of distributing the I/O from the processing. 2 models to talk about. First one is the X10, Server Core X10. It is, again, roughly about 50% greater capacity than its closest core, the Core 24. So 256 by 256 network channels, up to 128 by 128 Dante channels, up to 64 AEC channels, and the WAN channels are set at 32. If we go one step further, the Server Core X20R is roughly 50% greater than its last one, than the Core X10. So we're sitting at 384 by 384 on the network, 256 by 256 on the Dante. The other things that we added to this box that is of note and shouldn't be ignored, you'll notice that the R at the end of that model number, what does that stand for? That basically represents that hot swappable power supply on the back that is redundant. So you've got redundant power supply. That's what the R stands for. And that is in part because we partner with manufacturers like Dell. This is a server-grade, enterprise-grade processor. And we're able to take advantage of things that were already on this processor, like those redundant power supplies. And so those are the two in the X series, 3 cores in total. If you have any questions about the core processors, I would invite you to go to qsys.com/cores to learn more about that. And with that, I am going to welcome Mark Pellegrino, who represents the Canadian Sales Management for us, who's going to introduce the new team.
Thanks a lot, Patrick. Appreciate it. Some really compelling stuff there. It's no wonder I'm a convert. Folks, thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Lovely to see all the Canadians on the call. My name's Mark Pellegrino. I might be a new face to some of you. I'm definitely not new to the Pro AV industry. I've been in Canadian Pro AV for about 25 years and know many of the people who are on the call today. A year ago, I was tasked with building a team here to aid QSC dealers through this evolutionary transition in the Canadian market. So at that time, I set to work assembling some of the industry's most knowledgeable resources and even some new faces, because we need to add to our exciting industry. We can't just be recycling people throughout the industry. So today, our growing team includes a number of very, very knowledgeable pros. Starting in Ontario, we have Sarah Crane as the area manager. She's been involved in the design and implementation of some of Canada's largest deployments for Q-SYS. Dans la belle province du Québec, nous avons Carlo Coppola, qui parle français and English, for helping our dealer partners from the 613 area code to the Atlantic coast. So if you're in the National Capital Region down to about Belleville, Kingston, over to Newfoundland, Carlo's your main contact here as a dealer. Stationed in Ottawa, Canada, David Tresham is our advanced application engineer and the most decorated trainer in the country. Finally, a new face for most of you, Dante Bottolato, based in Montreal, is ramping up on our support team to offer bilingual support. Advance the slide with the right button, and it'll work. Too many slides there. In addition to these augmented internal resources, we've also onboarded a new authorized service partner. So you can access support.qsys.com, and if your devices need to be fixed, they can be sent to Microland in Markham, Ontario, a new partner of ours. Now, new resources are great, but we didn't stop there. We actually rallied some of our internal teams here to further support the needs in market. Collaborating closely with Jake Corlett, our Director of Consultant Engagement and Solution Engineering, we've added dedicated technical resources for consultants and specifiers and partners who require design. Joining us remotely to share more about how we've enlisted his team for additional support, here's Jake.
Mark. Hey, happy to be with you all this morning, but sad I couldn't be with the rest of the QSC team in sunny Costa Mesa. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jake Corlett, as Mark said, and I lead the consultant liaison and the solutions engineering team here at Q-SYS. But some of you probably do recognize me as some of my former lives where I served as regional manager for manufacturers in Canada, or more recently as the Canadian National Sales Manager at QSC for the last 5.5 years until Mark took the reins on that position. Tangentially, when I was brought onto Q-SYS, I also was tasked with creating and building a robust and scalable consultant liaison team in practice here in the U.S. that would serve as a factory direct support mechanism for our independent consultant partners. My mission in building that was to provide best-of-class support for the design and specifying community that was aimed to engage, educate, and enhance the outcomes for both our consultants and their customers. So when I think about engagement, we're talking about consistent outreach to the consultant community for product and software updates, voice of customer, consultant roundtables at our training and experience centers throughout the world. But this also includes regular office visits, virtual lunch and learns, demonstrations, and a myriad of other touch points throughout the year. So, and when we think about education for the consultant community, we develop and deliver content that looks through the lens of an independent consultant and is tailored to address not only the challenges, but the opportunities that are unique to the specified community as well. So, and I'll expand on that in just a bit here. And finally, when we talk about enhancing experiences with Q-SYS for the consultant community, we offer a wide range of support mechanisms to help your tenders go out on time, on budget, and as well engineered as possible, so that everybody saves time and money, right? And so we'll go over those options in just a bit as well. But first, super excited to introduce some of my team that will be helping serve the Canadian market moving forward. So first is a gentleman named Rick Berman. Rick's an industry veteran, just like a lot of us here at Q-SYS, who has a ton of integration experience in design and programming and actually field installation as well. Rick's also served as a consultant liaison for other manufacturers, and he's been on my team for almost 3 years now. He's based out of Chicago. Sort of splitting the country in half to the west is Mike Perlmeter. Similar to Rick, Mike is no new face to our industry. He's served as a consultant liaison for other manufacturers in the past, and he's now jumped over to the consultant liaison side here at Q-SYS about 2 years ago. And certainly last but not least is a guy who's often waiting in the shadows is a gentleman named Frank Pajak, who's our solutions architect for the consultant liaison team. Frank, again, just like the rest of the team here, a ton of experience. He was a front of house engineer for a long while before getting into AV integration, and then jumped to the manufacturer side about 10 years ago, and has been at Q-SYS for just over a year now. So we'll all be in the breakout session at the end of this, at the end of the presentation today. So I encourage you to join us and learn more about the team here that we've got to support the consultant community, and please feel free to reach out. So lastly today, I want to just talk about some of those things we do to enhance, our integration or our experiences with the consultant market. So first and foremost, I've sort of broken this down into two sort of categories, although there's a lot of things we do. And the first is design assist. So one of the things you can rely on my team on is to provide high quality and detailed design assistance. And that comes in a couple of different forms. So the first would be a system design, where we take your program report and your scope of work that you've worked with your clients on and deliver a system design in the form of a signal flow or a bill of materials or both. All these design assist tools can ultimately lead to a master quote. So your tender goes out and comes back with pricing that's apples to apples for the integrators that are bidding or tendering your project. The next is acoustical modeling. So our team we launched a series of products called the PL series last year, and we do a lot of ease models for those. And you can see some examples of the reports that we give that include speaker location, splay angles of those speakers, gain shading. All that documentation is wrapped up in a nice report that you can hand over to your client to ensure they're going to get the best solution. Excuse me. Competitive analysis would be, a client may be set on a standard and they're not sure how to move to Q-SYS. Our team can review and suggest alternate a solution for that application. And then the last is just design review. So that would be everything from you've inherited a design or you've come up with a design yourselves and you just want a second set of eyeballs on it from Q-SYS. So we offer that as well. And the second big bucket for today that I'll leave you on is training and educational resources. So again, we have a ton of training on our website and in person, but what my team does is actually tries to filter that through the lens of a consultant or independent designer and create unique experiences that are tailored to you. So we have a consultant only level 2 we host a couple times a year. So we'll make that link available for you to sign up and you can join us at one of those sessions. We also do pretty regularly, quarterly or 3 or 4 times a year, I guess, consultant-focused webinars that, again, look at specific topics from clocking domains to networking with Q-SYS to Q-SYS architect training, and those are tailored specifically for the consultant market. And then last but not least, we certainly have an ongoing blog where we tackle tips and tricks that may be unique to a designer or consultant. So again, my team is focused on really delivering things that are unique to the specifying community, and we're here to help. So with that, I'll leave it and feel free to reach out, and we'll pass it back to Patrick.
Great, thank you, Jake. I'm back again, obviously. 3 more products to talk about, and then we're gonna hand it back to the sales team. Again, going over the things that we went over at Activate, but you might have missed. So this is gonna be a 10,000-foot view of, starting with Vision Suite. So if you have you been following Q-SYS, we introduced Vision Suite about 1.5 or 2 years ago with the intention of having a robust tracking solution for both the presenter and a means in which to switch to audience participation so that we can get meeting equity for those that are remote. What we introduced at Activate was basically Vision Suite 2.0, which was an evolved way to do your audience participation. It brings to bear the same presenter tracking that you've come to know and love about Vision Suite, and we've designed a better way to get that result from the design perspective. So for those that are not fully aware of what the goals of Vision Suite are, again, the goals are to free up that in-room experience. The idea is that you want to untether your presenter from that podium and give them full fluid motion and tracking for the far end. You also want to make sure that the persons or the people that are sitting in the audience, whether they're sitting in the front row or all the way in the back row, are presented to that far end. And for better or for worse, there is a large percentage of this experience that is governed almost entirely by that design element. Like the designer that is building this room has the keys to deliver that experience. And so the impetus is on us, the manufacturer, to make sure that those design tools are as easy to use as possible. And so those are the 3 elements that we have improved upon in this Vision Suite 2.0. Presenter tracking, we have best-in-class presenter tracking with Vision Suite. And we do this because we do tracking a little bit differently. We take a look at not just 2 points on the person. A lot of tracking solutions out there are only looking at the eyes and using that to do tracking. And instead, Vision Suite is looking at up to 16 different points on your body so that the presenter is free to, for example, turn around, turn their back to the camera without losing tracking from the camera. So that's why we're able to derive such a cinematic, fluid outcome from our presenter tracking. The other thing that Vision Suite 1.0 presented was the ability to bring your audience into that, into the fold and make that switching very seamless. Now, in Vision Suite 1.0, we used a technology, or a plugin rather, called ACPR. And effectively what that did was it took the telemetry from the microphone, and when somebody began to speak, the microphone would be able to grab that XYZ coordinate and trigger to a predetermined preset in the room, which obviously means that the designer would need to approximate where people are going to be sitting or standing in the room so that when they start talking, it would trigger. Now, the issue with that, or the opportunity that we had with Vision Suite 2.0, was to introduce the idea of chance, the idea of improvisation. The idea that if you walk into the room and it is not set up the way you anticipated, that the room wouldn't fall apart, but rather it would continue to track the participants wherever they're sitting, whether we expected them to sit there or not. And that's where the new technology of Speaker Spotlight comes into play. So rather than relying on presets, the microphone is delivering those XYZ coordinates to Vision Suite, and it is processing that. It is fusing the information from the audio and the visual, and it is creating those framings on the fly, which means that if the presenter decides mid-course to rearrange the room, have a breakout session, he or she can take that room that was maybe been set up in a classroom scenario and then reconfigure it in a U-shaped scenario, and without having to go back to that touch panel and trigger a new scenario, the room is just automatically readjusting the framing of the audience based on where it anticipates or where it approximates them sitting in the room. Again, obviously this presents opportunity for the presenter to have more opportunity for improvisation in the room. And, again, if the room wasn't set up the way that it should, the room will not completely fall apart. It's triangulating everybody's position wherever they're sitting in the room and driving that experience. Now, how are we doing this? Well, we introduced at Activate a brand new accelerator called the VSA 100. It is of note that, unlike the processor that it precedes, this is a native processor to Q-SYS. So a lot of the interconnections that had to be made between ACPR and Q-SYS go away. This is a native processor that's doing all of that processor, and all of the ease that you would come to expect from an I/O device that's native to Q-SYS comes with that. This is an enterprise-grade processor. It occupies about it occupies 1 RU in the rack, and it is effectively the brains of the system. Now, I spoke about kind of the last piece, which is the means in which you use to design the system. We are introducing and have released what we're calling Vision Suite Designer. This is available in Q-SYS Designer Software 10.0. It is available right now. And what it presents is a 3D space for your room. So a lot of the ambiguity about these connection points go away, and the spatial relationship to all of your gear goes away, because you're building in real space your room. You're dragging in furniture, you're dragging in cameras, displays, you're approximating where these cameras are in the room. You're calibrating the distances so that the system can use its own intelligence to make sure that where you've placed this in the design is actually where it is in the room. And I hope that it's quite clear that in this scenario, you're taking a lot of the complexity out of the design so that you can have a better chance at delivering a better outcome for your users. The impetus is far less on the designers and more so relying on the software to make that transition as easy as possible. We're happy to also announce, again, the hardware is not yet shipping. It should be shipping in a matter of weeks. But if you're interested in diving a little bit deeper into how to design these softwares or to design these rooms, we introduced a training, or rather the first couple modules of the training, online. A lot of this design can be done in emulation mode. And so we wanted to give everybody a tool to start planning on how to use these tools now. So if you go to training.qsys.com, you'll find a training called Vision Suite Design and Deployment. And it's basically the first 4 modules of a 10-module course. And everything that you're learning on this can be done in emulation mode before the hardware arrives. And obviously, when the hardware does arrive, we will release the rest of the modules. Speaking of Q-SYS Designer 10.0, I'm not going to go deep on Q-SYS Designer 10.0 because I'll recognize that there's probably a fair number of end users that never touch the software. But for those that are interested, I would highly encourage you to go to qsys.com/QDS to find the latest version of Q-SYS Designer. This was our biggest release in our history. There was a lot of back-end work that was done in addition to loading all of these new products into Q-SYS Designer. As well, there were a ton of software-based features that we introduced. We introduced additional capabilities on the audio side for the MV21. We released support for SMPTE 2010 audio, as well as NMOS support. So if you're interested in using Q-SYS for broadcast, you're increasing your palette of protocols that we support. New tools to build UCIs. There's a great tool called the Flexbox that you can learn about. And then we are also betaing the ability to control Q-SYS from a WebSocket. So in addition to support and control from a touchscreen device, we're introducing the idea that you could be designing your control from a web browser. So very exciting things. End user, not so exciting. Rather than go there, if you're interested in everything that we presented at Activate, highly encourage you to go to qsys.com/activate to learn all of it. One last technology announcement, and rather this is mainly a preview that we introduced for Reflect, brand new features and functionalities that we'll be releasing online in a couple weeks. For those that are new to Reflect, this was the cognitive cloud layer that I was talking about. Q-SYS Reflect allows you to do remote monitoring and management of not just a singular system, but any system in your enterprise across the world. It goes without saying that the connection of this is as easy as you would expect for Q-SYS. So it's a single connection point. The core connects your entire AV system, all of its native devices, all of its third-party devices in that single connection. And we offer a complete API for those that want to funnel all of that data into a third-party monitoring service like ServiceNow, for example. Now, what we previewed at Activate is beginning to allow the opportunity for you to get actions and insights from Reflect. A lot of what was presented in Reflect prior to this is a lot of data. You're able to do a lot of in-the-moment troubleshooting and access logs and logs of data that are happening on the system. But up until now, it's been a little bit challenging to derive trends so that you can begin to action not just a singular system, but make choices across your enterprise. And so some of the things that you're going to be seeing are things like Space Manager. It seems like a simple idea, but you're now able to assign where that core is in the world. Not just in a room, you're able to identify the room, not just that, but the floor, the building, where it is in the world, assign an address to it. And in doing so, you're able to look at trends across these systems. The first thing that you're going to get is a view of all of your enterprise on a map form. So from a 10,000-foot view, you're able to see what systems are working, what systems may need some attention. And then, again, that ontology that we're introducing allows you to look at reliability trends. So here's a brand new view that we're calling system reliability. You're able to define a time frame across time and space and say, okay, at a given moment, can we see why both of these things went offline at the same time? And this introduces the idea that, well, maybe you had a power outage. Maybe you had a networking piece. Until then, this data was kind of hard to connect, and we are connecting the dots with a lot of these views. There's one more view that is less granular in terms of the time, but you are able to derive a little bit more trending information. So here's a different view, not bound by time, but rather by uptime percentage. So from a 10,000-foot view, you can see, okay, well, these green areas, if I'm booking a meeting, for example, that is of high importance, maybe you want to book it in one of those green areas because they are showing a trend of online. On a similar note, transversely, you would focus on these red areas if you're looking to identify areas where you can put spend to increase or upgrade these systems. So again, hard to do without the cross-system visibility. We're excited to roll these out over the next couple of weeks. I would invite you to, right now, if you're a Q-SYS customer, if you have not invoked that free trial and that free subscription to Reflect, I would beg the question, what are you waiting for? For those that have seen what we've done over the last couple of months and years with Q-SYS, we invoked that free API in a way that hadn't been in the past. We cleaned up the pricing. So there's a lot of good things that await you, and Reflect is very much an intrinsic part of that platform, and we would invite you, if you've got systems out there, to connect and give it a try. And with that, I am going to introduce Mike DeFries to tell us a little bit more about our distribution strategy in Canada.
Patrick, thank you so much.
Yep.
It's an exciting time to be here, and lots of great stuff you talked about there. So I've been at Q-SYS for just over 11 years, and over the last several years, we've worked really hard to expand our distribution partnerships in North America. We want to thank SFM for their service in the Canadian market, and we want to remind you that they continue on as our QSC Pro Audio distributor in Canada. And now I'd like to share our path moving forward for Canada. We're really excited to announce today that we've extended our partnership with both Wesco Anixter and ADI Global, who are now our Q-SYS distribution partners for Canada. Each of these exceptional organizations has multiple offices across the country, as well as fantastic sales, technical, and logistics capabilities. We look forward to working together with both ADI and Wesco in Canada to help you grow your Q-SYS business, and we invite you to reach out and contact them. I'm also excited to share that as of this week, we have dedicated Canadian training classes available for sign up on the Q-SYS training site, including Level 2 and Control classes. Whether you are new to Q-SYS or you've been a longtime partner in Canada, we invite you to take advantage of our award-winning Q-SYS training, which is a combination of on-demand and live remote classes. To help you support your business in Canada, we have a team of very talented Q-SYS salespeople and solutions architects on our team who are ready to work with our distribution partners and to work with you, our customers, to ensure success for your Q-SYS projects. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the breakout session to answer any questions you might have. Now let's hand it back to Frank and Ray, who are going to close us out.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Here we go. 1 second, guys. There you go.
At Q-SYS, we're in the business of making experiences happen everywhere, from performance spaces, conference rooms, casinos, theme parks, even massive sports stadiums.
And it's the flexibility of Q-SYS that empowers you to create experiences that meet your highest standards.
It's what lets your most ambitious ideas take shape and come to life.
And when we look at where we are right now, I firmly believe we're on the cusp of some of the most exciting times our company and this entire industry has ever seen.
So thank you for joining us for the last hour. We hope you have a better understanding for the Q-SYS vision as well as the resources that are available.
There's an enormous amount of expertise at your disposal committed to ensuring your success.
So the next step is to join us live in the breakout sessions. In your window, you should be seeing a variety of options to choose from. Choose the option that best aligns with your role and meet many of the folks that we've introduced today.
This is also a great opportunity to receive specific contact information and have a chance to ask any questions that you might have.
Thank you for joining us.